Hey guys, happy Sunday night. It's Captain Dylan Hubbard at Hubbard's Marina with another Sunday night live stream fishing show. We've got Captain Frank and our special first mate and basketball star Kylie in studio tonight, Captain Frank's daughter. We've got a special show lined up for you guys. We're going to get started here on Facebook and then we're going to get rolling with this show. Happy Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another beautiful Sunday night live stream fishing show. It is Sunday night, November 10th, 8:29 p.m. If you are watching live, you are hopefully ready for a great show. We're going to be giving away free fishing trips, talking nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. And we're going to be sharing lots of fishing tips and tricks. And tonight we've got some special guests in the studio tonight, one more special than the other. We've got Captain Frank and his daughter Kylie, our special first mate and basketball star now, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, you're on the team, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she just made her middle school team as a sixth grader. She beat out some eighth graders. You're going to go take them all to school, huh?
Yep. I am.
So Kylie's with us tonight. She's going to be sharing some fishing tips and tricks as well. And we're going to be giving away some free fishing trips. Someone's going to win a free 5-hour half-day trip. And that's going to be for 2 people. Someone's going to win a free 10-hour trip for 2 people. And then we're going to have a 39-hour trip for half price for one. Unless we get to 300 live viewers, then someone's getting a free 39-hour fishing trip. So definitely stay tuned. You do have to be watching live in order to win those free trips. So if you're not watching live, you don't have a chance to win those free trips. So make sure that you are watching live in order to be eligible for those free fishing trips, because you definitely don't want to miss out. In order to win, you do have to comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page, and that makes you eligible to win. So leave one comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. Just go to Hubbard's Marina on Facebook. Once you're on the page, you'll find our live stream video. Just comment one time where you're watching from, and that will make you eligible to win. So, Kylie, you ready for a good show?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm ready.
You got some tips to share?
Yep.
How about you, Frank? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing really good.
Thanks for joining us again. I'm excited to have you guys back on the show, and we're gonna be talking about those crazy hogfish bites that we've been getting lately. The hogfish bite just continues to be impressive, huh?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been really good.
It seems like it's just non-stop on those 10-hour trips. We're seeing them on the 5-hour trips. A lot of people asking what trips are the best to get those hogfish, so we're going to be talking about that tonight a little bit. Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
We're getting them on the half day and the full day. You know, if you can only get out there for a half day, then if that's all the time you got, then go for it. But if you can spend all day with us, that's where we've been getting out into much deeper water here recently since we've gotten the friendly fishermen back from dry dock. It's performing really well. Really happy with everything that we've had done to it. The guys did a great job on that, and yeah. So if you got all day, come spend all day with us. But the half day is doing just great also.
Cool. Well, I think we're ready to get this thing rolling in just a minute here, guys. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to share this Facebook video on your timeline with your favorite fishing club. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you can stay up to date with all our latest videos. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you like us on Facebook. That way you can stay up to date with all our updates. We got some exciting stuff coming up for sure. We're going to be talking tonight a little bit about the weather. We're going to be covering that 44-hour trip that came in this morning. We're going to be talking about our upcoming Bass Pro Shop seminar. We're going to be covering our brand new website that should be rolling out here any minute. That's right. We just completely redesigned our website to make it even better and easier to use. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it even more. Trying to make it more user-friendly, more searchable, make it easier for you to find what you're looking for more quickly. So definitely excited for those website changes. And again, they're not up and running quite yet. We're still working on that website. It's still syncing all those changes. So give us a little bit of time. But that new website should be up and running sometime tomorrow. So when you got spare time tomorrow, we're definitely going to need you to check out that new website and give us some feedback. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be easier to use, easier to find things you're looking for, easier to find your favorite trips and stay up to date with what's going on with the trips you're looking for and what you're enjoying. We've got a search bar now, which is really cool. You know, when you go to a new website, you're always trying to find what you're looking for, and it's so difficult. I just type it in the search bar. So
great.
we're going to have one of our own.
That's great. So they can find the weather links.
Yeah, the weather links.
That one was always kind of a pain in the butt to get to. If you didn't know exactly where it was, we do because we use it all the time. But
yeah, you'll be able to just type in the search bar weather and find it. It'll make your life a lot easier navigating that page for sure. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to make your life easy.
and give you all kinds of bunch of information that you may never need again. Tell you all kinds of crappy stories. Yeah,
you ready, Kylie?
Yep.
You ready to do this?
All right.
Yeah.
You want to count us down?
No.
All right, guys. How y'all do? I forgot to change my shirt. I'm not
Oh.
even in my uniform shirt.
Could you at least button that thing
I
up a
know,
little
for
bit?
real. Just straight from church to the live show. All right. Well, how you guys doing tonight? Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, again, please comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and sit back, relax, because we're about to get this thing rolling.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it. First things first, we're going to talk a little bit about the weather. We want to definitely talk about the weather and what to look for because we have some interesting stuff coming up in the weather. So again, as always, you can go to our website under fishing trips. You can scroll down to the weather links page. On that weather links page, you'll find all the different marine forecasts. You can go to just that 5 or 10 hour page right now, and you can clearly see where that wind picks up. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. So the blue, the light blue, all good stuff. When you start seeing this green, not so good stuff. So essentially, we're getting a little cold front. Today, Monday, Tuesday looks beautiful. And then all of a sudden, Wednesday, that wind really picks up. And look at those seas. Kylie, 5.5 foot. Would you enjoy that?
Green does not mean go.
No.
Not all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday even. Friday, another little front comes. So it's going to be front, backs to back. Long story short with the weather, if you want to go fishing, now's the time to do it. You want to get out there either tomorrow or Tuesday and get out there ahead of this weather because the weather is, or the fishing is always best ahead of those fronts. So the fishing Tuesday on the backside of this full moon, right ahead of that next front.
Could be awesome.
It should be. It should be real good. The stars are aligning. So join us for that half-day fishing trip tomorrow, the half-day trip Tuesday, or a 10-hour trip Tuesday. Are you running the 10-hour Tuesday?
Yes, I will be running the 10-hour on Tuesday.
Or Kylie, are you going?
Half day.
I got basketball practice.
You got,
so I can't go.
She's got
priorities.
Yep.
Fishing with Dad is falling behind basketball now?
Yep.
Oh, man.
I'll start going on. I'll go on the weekends.
Oh, okay. Okay. There you go. You go fishing on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad we won't miss you completely.
Yeah.
So if anybody doesn't know who Kylie is Frank's daughter, and you've been fishing with us how many years now?
About 6 or 7.
6 or 7 at least.
Since you were 4 is when you started really
Yeah.
coming out on the boat.
So 4 years old, you started fishing on the half-day trip?
Yeah, and then when I was 5 or 6, I started actually working on the boat. So.
Don't tell people that. You're not supposed to work that young.
No.
But So on our half day trip, do you feel like you see a lot of kids out there?
Sometimes, but like mostly adults.
Yeah. But is it kid friendly?
Yes, very kid friendly.
Oh, okay. So even all the crew members, you think they're good with kids?
Yes.
I mean, most of the crew members?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. And you enjoy going out fishing, huh?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, there's nothing better. Nothing better. It's always fun going out with Dad, especially, too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's a good time.
All right, guys. So we talked a little bit about the weather. Long story short, with the weather, you want to go either tomorrow or Tuesday. We have a weekend 39-hour trip. That one looks pretty good. It's only about 3 to 5 foot seas this weekend. Our Tuesday 39-hour trip we had to cancel. Yeah, it's calling offshore Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. They're calling 30 knot gusts and 8 foot seas.
Ah.
8 foot seas. So
yeah, that may have been a good call.
yeah, that's where we start to kind of draw the line. Once it starts getting over 7 foot on that 39-hour trip, the Florida Fisherman's a big boat, definitely very safe, wide, stable vessel. But once you start getting up to 8 foot, it starts to getting a little bit hairy.
Yeah.
A little uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
All right, so besides the weather, we wanted to show you guys what we've been catching out there, and we've been doing pretty good on those offshore trips and nearshore trips, and even inshore. The fishing's going really well right now. So we're going to start inshore as always and show you what we've been seeing inshore. The snook bite is going well around the pass. The snook are getting a little smaller inside John's Pass and around the jetty. A lot of those bigger snook are starting to make their ways into the back bay waters. But we still got some mackerel around. A lot of Jack Crevalle action. You know Carson, Captain Anthony's son? Little Carson, I think he's 4 or 5 years old now. He came running into the office out of breath, just panting like he was being chased by something.
Right.
I was like, dude, what's wrong? He's like, they're exploding. They're exploding. And I was like, what is exploding, dude? He was like, the fish are exploding. And I followed him outside. He's trying to pull me by my hand. And I follow him outside, and Anthony, a couple of kids fishing the dock.
Yeah,
they're all bowed up on Jack Crevalle.
Yeah, I saw them. They dipped a net in the water, and the Jack Crevalles were swimming in it. They were just netting the fish, netting the jacks up.
Oh, really?
At the in the slip there.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the jacks. I mean, when they start getting like that, have you seen that before, Kylie?
I haven't.
When they get all crazy in the white water everywhere.
Yes.
And the water starts boiling.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
boiling.
Yeah, it's crazy, and there's just fish everywhere. It makes it really, really easy to catch them. It's a lot of fun. They're not a high quality tasting fish. Most people will release them, but some people eat them.
Yeah, I've blackened jacks before.
You've eaten them?
Yeah, when I was younger, I remember. I mean, we can be picky nowadays because we're always out on the boats. But back in the day when I was a kid, I remember cutting that red bloodline out of the jacks and blackening the meat up, and it was just firm. It didn't taste bad at all. But
just firmer meat.
yeah, like firm, like I would say it's pretty consistent to maybe like an Almaco jack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Might have to try one. But definitely tons of them as right now, and they're a lot of fun.
They're a heck of a fight. I mean, pound for pound, you know, there may be other fish that match it, but that's as hard as you can get a fish to fight inshore. I mean, as a Jack Crevalle. I mean, I've caught them that were 10 inches big on little fishing for mangoes, and one comes up and pops it, and it's like it's a really good fight.
Yeah, definitely a really good fight. I think you're right. Pound for pound, inshore fishing wise, I don't think you can find a stronger fighting fish.
Not inshore, yeah.
The old canal tuna, as they call them.
Canal tunas?
Yeah.
That's cool.
The canal tunas.
Yeah, because they're always in those canals. I remember I had friends that lived on the canals over in Tampa where I grew up, and we'd catch it was Jackson mullet. We would go up and down those canals all the time.
Yeah, I in the canal that I grew up on, I mean, I would keep my eyes peeled this time of year, and you'd see the birds come, and then all of a sudden, underneath the birds somewhere, you'd see the whitewater.
Yeah.
And I would chase them around in a kayak until I got my boat, and I would chase them around in the boat until you just get tired catching them.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. The old gold spoon was my favorite. You could catch them 2 at a time.
Yeah.
The snook bite still going real well. You can see the white terrorize there. They've been catching a bunch of them on those white terrorize lures. And you can see the size is going down a little bit, but there's still a lot of them around.
Yeah, there's still some nice big ones down there.
This one was further inshore around those residential canal docks. These guys were docklight fishing and bridge fishing. They were actually targeting Gag Grouper, Captain Pablo Schick with Real Coquina Charters. They were targeting inshore gags, and they got quite a few nice gags.
At nighttime?
Yeah. Nighttime around the bridges with these flare hawk jigs.
That's cool.
But nice big snook in the mix. Another nice snook, more inshore again. Big old cobia on that flare hawk jig. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with those flare hawk jigs. You have to show me what one looks like.
They're like a big spro. It's like a bucktail jig.
Yeah.
So, and that's the new craze. Like in the last 3, 4, 5 years, the snook fishermen, that's what they use. It's
right?
It's like a 1 ounce or a ½ ounce all the way up to a 2 ounce jig head. And then it's got some really long, like almost probably like 6 inches.
That's weird.
Of
What is that
hairs.
supposed to mimic?
I have no idea, but they kill the fish on them.
I mean, I know I could see a cobia hitting one, because they're kind of like an eelish looking thing, but
and they come in the craziest colors, like pink and purple and neon green.
Really?
Wow.
There's not any natural looking color, and they do really well on them. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of them through these photos.
oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and First Lights Jigs is real popular. Glad Snooker Jigs is real popular. There's a bunch of different.
That goes to show you how little bit of inshore fishing I've done over ever since I've been back with Hubbard's.
But it's
if I'm
that's
doing
what's
any
cool
inshore,
about doing
I'm
these.
right there at the boat.
Yeah, that's what's cool about doing these fishing reports is these guys share a lot of their fishing photos and then fishing
awesome.
information and going to the different fishing shows, learning from people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun how those gag groupers, how they fight inshore versus offshore though.
Oh yeah, these inshore gags.
Man, they are crazy when you're catching one in 8 or 10 feet of water versus 38 feet of water.
Yeah, it's almost like exponential. Like it seems to me it has a lot to do with their biology because like when you're fighting a gag in 10, 15, 20 foot of water, they fight a lot harder than when you're fighting them in 50, 60 foot of water. And I think it has a lot to do with that barotrauma. Because when you're retrieving the fish from 60, 70, 80 foot, once you get him 20, 30 feet off the bottom, his gas is expanding. He starts to really almost give up because he's fighting that expanding gas and he starts losing the battle with just his own body. Yeah. Whereas 8 to 10, 12, 20 foot of water,
he gonna
they
fight
don't, they don't have to give up.
Where we used to put on 80-pound tests to fish some of these seawalls. And they would have you running down the side of the seawall, because they were pulling drag out, and they're trying to get up under the. They got some little homes there, and it's you got to rip them out of there, and it is no joke. Even at a 24, 25 incher, we've gotten them up to 31 inches inshore, and that's like a nice big monster, But
want to know what they caught at the Skyway the other day? I should have saved the photo for the live show. But one of the guys that fishes with us on our 39-hour trip, he's been fishing at the Skyway a ton lately. He caught a true black grouper.
Really?
A carburetor grouper on the Skyway.
We got one not too long ago. It was on a half day. But we caught a mutton on the half day too this week.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That weird weather change. It seems like when the temperatures start changing, it seems like the fish almost get confused. Like you start seeing yellowtail randomly.
Yeah, we saw some yellowtails on the half day too.
The lane snapper come in shallower. It just everything kind of gets confused for a little while.
Yeah.
It starts overlapping.
Yeah,
Things that wouldn't normally happen start happening.
Yeah, that was only the second mutton I've seen on a half day, and since I've been there, I mean that's
wow.
Like
not saying something because you've been here a while.
Yeah, I've been here a while.
That's funny. All right, so let's see what other photos we got here. So the gags definitely in the bay and around the bridges. The guys are doing really well trolling through Tampa Bay, fishing the bridges at night with these flare hawks. They're definitely around Tampa Bay. They're tough to catch. you got to definitely know what you're doing. But once you get them dialed in, the guys who know what they're doing have been catching a lot of them around Tampa Bay, which is awesome to see for sure. And it seems like once they get really thick in the bay, then all of a sudden we start seeing them really well near shore. It's almost like they have to get thick in the bay before they kind of fill in near shore.
Yeah.
They were out so deep all summer long, and then all of a sudden they come in shore, they fill up the bay, and then all of a sudden they fill in near shore. It's really strange how that's happened the last couple years.
Yeah.
But lots of mackerel around the bridge. This is the south side of the bridge. It's real deep and rocky over there on the south side of Johns Pass Bridge. Great place to target from shore, from mangroves and mackerel, and soon sheepshead will start picking up. Lots of nice redfish around those mangrove shorelines right now, and those oyster bars. They're starting to move further back into the bays, but a lot of redfish. Great time to get out there and go wade fishing. Cooler waters.
That's a great photo, man. You know, that
That's
guy's
beautiful.
Just enjoying his day so much, you know.
And he's got a Salt Strong shirt.
Yeah.
That's even better. Yeah, it's definitely a good time of year to go wade fishing because and he's got, look at that, he's got a Bull Bay assault rod too. So this guy's my hero. But definitely the wade fishing this time of year is a lot better just because it's cooler out, not as many sharks around, so you're not dealing with a bull shark trying to get between you and your fish, and you're not worrying about those alligators. Did you see that alligator? Those wade fishermen. Well, I guess it wasn't a wade fisherman. It was a charter captain, like South Shore of Tampa Bay somewhere. And he was leaving the boat ramp and went over a grass bed and saw something weird on the bottom, slowed down and was videoing it. It was a freaking alligator.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
right on the flats in Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That would have stopped me wade fishing real fast.
Yeah, right? As a kid?
Because to me, sharks don't scare me. Like, I don't mind a shark. A big old bull shark might get my attention, but it's not going to freak me out. Whereas an alligator, not today.
Yeah, what would stop me is a spider.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yes.
We have a spider web out in the back of our house, and after the show last week, he was going out to smoke a cigarette, and that spider web came out of nowhere, and he freaked out.
Yeah.
Jumped out of the way. It was pretty scary. You scared me.
Yeah, it was, yeah. It's a big spider.
I don't like spiders either. They are not fun.
Definitely not fun. But now we talked a little bit about inshore. Let's go near shore. Are you laughing because of the photo?
Yeah, his face.
He's got a funny face, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, that's why we brought her, that we have a little pretty face for once on here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you though.
All right, so the hogfish bite's been going really well. We've been seeing a lot of nice hogfish this week. Oh, look at that one.
Look at that.
Ah, there's Kylie.
It's the braces.
Stop.
I won't say anything about that. Okay.
You're better.
Okay.
There's a good photo. But definitely the hogfish bite's been going really, really good. We've been seeing a lot of those hogfish. I mean, anywhere from 30 to 70 foot is a great area to target them. But it seems to be like right in the middle there somewhere is where they're been biting the best. And you can always use those three different methods, the jig head, the naked ball jig, or just that knocker rig method. I think Frank would agree my favorite method is the knocker rig myself.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like using a jig head with just a piece of shrimp, and a lot of other people like just using the naked ball jigs, and they have a lot of success.
Yeah, we have some people that is just about all they're set on it, and they do work most of the time. But every once in a while, you come across a day where they just want a sardine or a shrimp, a free line shrimp, and but yeah.
It's weird. Those hogfish are definitely one of those strange creatures.
They are. I remember we had a one of our half days. We caught like 15 hogfish, like 5 or 6 keepers. Then we go out for 10 hours with 10 times as many people, 10 times as much shrimp on the boat, and we couldn't get one.
Yeah.
We got one. I got one. I think one right at the end. Told them to reel up. It was like the last.
And
fish
they are
of the day.
very hit and miss like that. It's like one day you can find them in one area. That area is holding hogfish.
Right.
You've been successful in that area.
Yeah.
Recently, you go back out there the next day with even more preparation and more bait and the right tackle, and you can't get them to chew.
Right.
There's really not much of a rhyme or reason to those hogs, but I mean, they're getting better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, I would say probably 4 out of 5 times we go for them, we're successful with them. Where it's like, if I say, hey, there's hogfish here, we get hogfish there, But every once in a while you come across these days where it's just, it's just
tougher.
What the heck's going on here? They're just sitting down there looking at it. Because we send those, Mikey Lee throws down these GoPro cameras down there, and you see them. And you see them looking at it. And then they just turn around. Not today. Not today.
Not today. Well, we did get to 300 live viewers, so someone is going to win a free 39-hour fishing trip. Between YouTube and Facebook, we are over 300 live viewers.
There it is.
So someone's getting a free 39-hour.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of people.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
And you don't think someone would give away a 39-hour, would you?
We do. It must be because you're on the
Yeah.
show.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody's here for her.
That's
So, so we are going to show the 44-hour pictures now.
Nice.
44-hour did pretty darn well. They had some real rough weather. That they were forecasting like 5 to 7 foot for that 44-hour trip this past weekend, but it actually got a little rougher than that, probably right around 7 foot, if not even a little bit more at one point. And it was not supposed to get rough until like 2 a.m. Saturday morning. So they were supposed to get a good chunk of night fishing time before it got real rough. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. As soon as they started fishing, essentially, that wind picked up and it started to get pretty rough pretty quick. So they had a really rough night. And got a little rougher at daybreak, and then it finally started calming down towards Saturday afternoon. They had a really nice end of the day Saturday, and the fish just turned on.
Nice. So that's a great gag right there for sure.
Yeah, big old fat gag right there.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's been moving a while. That nice white belly. Definitely those fish are on the move. There's another nice gag from that 44-hour full moon trip. Big old sheep's head porgy. Wow. That thing's monstrous.
Yeah.
That's big.
Those things have a heck of a cut of meat on them. Boy,
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's
super white too.
Super white, and the texture's real great too. It's
don't sleep on the porgy.
Don't you throw? Smoky would kill me if I. Now I'm talking about those. What is the name of that particular porgy right there? That's
that one's a sheep's head porgy.
The sheep's head porgy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the jolt heads, right?
You have the jolt head, a margate, little eye, knobbed eye.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep up with them. But those big porgies like that, don't you throw those back? If you're on an overnight or an all-day trip, those things have a heck of a cut of meat on them. Most guys know that already. But
they have a really good cut of meat on them. And then the ones that don't have restrictions are really good bait, too. A smaller one for gags and amberjack. There's some porgies that have size limits and bag limits, like pink porgies, what a lot of people call rosies or ruby lips. And those porgies you can't use for bait because they have a bag limit. But the ones that don't have bag limits, like the little eyes or the jolt heads, they make really, really good bait for Gag Grouper. So definitely a good time of year to use them. But look at that bruiser.
Wow.
That is a fat red grouper, dude.
It sure is.
That has got some shoulders to him. And it is definitely, and there's another nice porgy. That one's, I think, I don't know, a little, I don't know.
I think that's a blue porgy.
No,
I like the way you think.
Blue under its eyes, but that's just
That's a blue porgy.
Maybe it's just eyeshadow. maybe she's going out later.
Don't judge her.
Don't be kissing any boys.
But nice mangrove snapper. They got a lot of nice mangrove snapper on this 44-hour trip. There's a big fat mangrove. John Martin, you can see the pinfish still hanging out of that guy's mouth. He was bit off more than he can chew in more than one way.
Bit the wrong hook.
For sure. But we got a few 44-hour videos. One I really wanted to show you guys.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you were going to show that.
Oh, yeah. If you guys get seasick, you might want to look away from your screen.
Yeah.
Because this is a little bit of a rough trip. And
look at that. Whoa! That's the way you just go. Wee!
no hands.
Look, my no hands.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at that wave.
Yeah.
Look at that wave. That is a monster wave, man.
Those are really big.
Yeah, and I mean the videos never really do it justice.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so that to some people watching, you might be thinking like, oh, that doesn't look very big, but
It's
that is
big.
a solid 6 foot sea, and the
Easy,
occasional
easy, yeah.
7-8 foot roller. And you can look when he looks back in the back of the boat, you can see the boat really how much it's moving, and that's a nearly 70 foot long, nearly 30 foot wide vessel. That's a big boat. And you can see kind of the storm cloud that they're sitting in front of. A lot of anchor line out. Look at that scope.
I see that.
That's
I
what
was
you were
thinking of
looking at.
that. I was like, man, that poor guy's got to pull all that anchor line all through that. But luckily, they sit on spots for for a while on a for those mangrove snappers because they just keep coming around and around and around.
Yeah, those mangrove snapper love swimming around those peaks. Now, it definitely was a good trip despite the weather. The weather definitely made it a little bit more challenging, but they got some nice fish, and here's a nice tuna. Those Rapala X-Rap Magnum 30s produce pretty well. This is the blue mackerel version of that Rapala X-Rap.
That's my favorite one.
Oh, yeah. He was catching a big one here. He was trying different things. He was reeling it in the rod holder. Took it out of the rod holder.
I would have never taken it out of the rod holder.
Oh no! Let the rod holder do the work.
Right?
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But this is a 6-minute video of the fight, and he only got it like halfway through too, so it was a pretty good fish. Oh, you could see it busting there.
Yeah.
There it is. It's skipping back there.
So did he get it in?
Oh, we're about to find out.
Okay.
We're about to find out. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gaffs it right here. It's coming up out of the water. It's a beautiful fish. Look at that butterball.
That's really pretty.
That is a big tuna. They don't get much bigger than this one. We get them upwards of 20 pounds. A 20-pound blackfin is a monster.
It is.
In our area, at least. They do get a little bigger, but
that's a pretty one.
that's a fatty. And fresh out of the water, they're just such a gorgeous fish.
Yeah, they are.
Beautiful, beautiful job. And they got some other real nice fish, big old gags. Check out this kingfish. They just got this by accident. The guy was dropping down to bottom, and as he dropped down to bottom, his line started peeling, and all of a sudden set it in gear and hauled up this nice big kingfish.
That's an awesome king.
That's a solid 25, 30 pounder.
Yeah, that's cool. Joe, Captain Joe was coming out out of the bridge. Just I think it was 2 days ago, and like as soon as he got to the Cebu, he got a 25-pound king.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he's told me. I believe him, but haven't seen the pictures yet, Joe. I'm sure he did though.
It's been big kingfish right there along the beach. It seems like we haven't really been seeing them 20, 30, 40, 50 feet deep, but the occasional kingfish we have been catching have been right there at the buoy.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from some of the local captains too.
And that trip that I was on with you when we were taking the scientists out, the one kingfish that we caught trolling, it was as we passed the sea buoy. It was right there.
Wow.
Look at the size of this mangrove snapper on the rental rod.
Oh yeah, that's a healthy mangrove snapper.
On that Bass Pro Shop Sea Fire.
There it is.
There it is.
Cool.
Got to get that photo.
Yeah, he's getting his camera out too.
Yeah.
Little does he know he's already
that was a big
star.
It's definitely a big old mangrove, and they've been doing pretty well out there. The mangroves seem to almost get a little bit better this time of year out there in deeper water.
We've definitely been getting them on our all-day trips. Anywhere from 15 to 40, I'd say. And if you know what you're doing, you could definitely have a really good shot at getting quite a few of them.
Yeah.
If you're just targeting them with maybe like a double hook rig or something like that.
The double snell rig.
Double snell. What do you know about the double snell rig?
You know how to tie one of those?
Huh?
Yeah, I
You
do.
do? Why don't you show us?
You want to do it real quick?
There's a piece of line here. Why don't you...
Look at that. There's 2 hooks right there too.
Look at that.
Oh my
Uh-oh.
God.
Think you can handle that?
Yeah.
All right. So should we time you?
No.
No. So Kylie's gonna start tying a double snell rig here real fast. Let's see. I don't know if I can move this without. There you go.
Okay, well, here.
You got to talk through it.
Okay, so like you do with the normal fishing thing. I don't know what it's called. You just put it through, and you just hold it there, and you twist it around 8 times. Well, I do.
Well, go ahead and do that.
Well, I am. 8, and then you take it. Oh my gosh, that's a long line.
Yeah, it's not like we set this up or something.
You got to have the bitter end free. You can't have it tied to your swivel already, right?
Right.
So you got to have both ends of your line free.
And you just pull it through. Make sure there's no knots. Ow.
And you don't want to get your finger.
Those are the laser points, which are a really good hook to use. Let me. Is there a package for them?
Yeah. The owner.
These are the owner 4-aughts. Let me see again. Yeah, owner 4-aughts. And when those mangroves hit those, it's like they go. They're already going in their mouth. You do still have to set the hook, but
Kylie, tie that second one on there.
yeah.
Alright.
What are you doing here?
You're slacking.
Time is money. Time is money.
Stop it.
We are waiting
Yeah,
on you,
we have
girl.
we have to simulate the boat rocking.
Alright. So then you pull it through, and then you get it close to the other one. It's a very long line.
So that I can take a sardine plug.
Okay, and then
How do you do the spacing? How do you know where to put it?
I would just do that much.
Basically, you're going to want to do it for the length of your bait. So if you have some really long sardines that you get in a box, you want to space them out, pretty far apart. But if you're if you're heading and tailing the sardines, then and they're just a 4-inch plug, and you want it to just fit. Mm-hmm. And most of your baits are probably going to be close to about the same.
I keep hurting.
You hooked yourself again.
Yeah.
Those aren't circle hooks. They make it harder.
Yeah, that's why the laser points is a perfect example. Is even just trying to tie them, they're so sharp. It takes the mangrove snapper's ability a little bit away from them.
Yep.
Of escaping, because we all know how those mangrove snappers love to chew your bait off there.
All right, now you got to hold it up to the little white
Alright.
light so they can see it.
And then that is a, what's it called?
A double snell rag.
A double
Snout.
snout.
So easy a kid could do it.
Yeah.
Nice job, Kylie.
Thank you.
Cool.
Now, if you want to see how that one was tied, Kylie has her own video. Well, not yet, but soon. She has her own video under fishing trips on our website. You can scroll down to the fishing tips and tricks. On the fishing tips and tricks page, there is a video down here somewhere about, it's down. No, yeah, how to tie a double, no, that's how to rig it. It's on here somewhere. Long story short. Oh, right there at the top. How to tie a double snell. So there's the video that shows you how to tie one of those things. Basically, you have to have both ends of your leader free. You start one end of the line through the front of one of those hooks. Pull out maybe like a 3/4 of an inch of that line down the shank of the hook. Pinch it. Wrap it around the hook and the tag line about 7-8 times, right?
Yep.
And then take the other end of the line and feed it through the back of that hook. And that snells it. And then you start that second hook through the back instead of the front and do the same process. It's pretty straightforward.
That's definitely cleared it up.
Yeah.
How hard
that's a lot harder.
It's like trying to explain somebody how to tie a hook, without actually, doing it is almost,
All right. You're right.
But
You're right.
there's the video.
There's the
They
video.
can
We
see-
showed you how to find it.
Yeah. Go look at the video.
After this video.
Right. Not now.
Of course.
We got to do a drawing. Can we
Yeah.
do a drawing?
That's what I was just thinking. You want to give away a trip, Kylie?
Yep.
All right. So what are we going to give away first? We got to give away a half day, an all day, a 39-hour.
Yeah.
So what are we giving away first?
5 hour.
5 hour?
Half day.
I like the way you think, girl. So 5 hour half day first by orders of Kylie here. So let's see who won a 5 hour half day. Who do you think won?
You better not be like someone in our family.
Can I say someone in there?
Yeah, you can take a guess. What do you think?
I think that person, Michael Seal.
All right.
I don't know if I
That's a
said that right,
guess.
but
That's a
I
valid
think-
guess. Now,
Like
if
it's
it
that
is
person.
Michael, that's gonna look weird.
Oh, and yeah. Well, she must have read his comment. Look at his comment. I've seen her on the 5 hour tying those knots, and she looks like a pro.
That's why
Did
you picked
set
his
this
name.
No,
up?
I didn't even read
set
that.
this up.
I drew.
And what if that would have been picked too?
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
All right, Daryl Mosier won that 5 hour half day for 2 for saying one of the funnier comments. I hear that a lot. People say that about me a lot.
Just
It's
realized
funny.
that you look like Vince Vaughn.
Oh my god.
And you know what's funny about that is my wife said that her celebrity, we were talking about celebrity crushes. She was like, oh yeah, mine's definitely Vince Vaughn. And I was like, really? Because people say that I look like him sometimes. And she was like, oh, that's why I married you. So definitely pretty funny on that front. Whenever anybody tells me that, it cracks me up.
It's funny. Well, my wife should say like Jack Black then or something.
That.
Do you agree?
Danny DeVito.
That is
Hopefully,
funny.
I look a little bit better than that.
All right, so we gave away our half day trip. We still got a 10-hour all day to give away and a 39-hour fishing trip to give away. We talked about the fishing videos and the fishing photos. We do have a 39-hour trip coming up this weekend. Pretty light load on it, or actually no, not such a light load on it. The light load 39-hour trips are coming up Tuesdays in December. We do have our 2020, our next year's calendar for 39-hour trips coming up the first week in December. Hopefully December 1st, that calendar will be out, so stay tuned for that. We got a Bass Pro Shop seminar coming up November 16th. That's going to be a great event. Hopefully Baby Jack will be there, and we're going to be giving away more fishing trips there too, Kylie.
All right.
You going to come?
I'll try.
All right. Maybe you could show everybody how to tie
That's
those
what I
knots.
tell them too.
All right. Let's get into some of these questions. Let's see what questions we got here.
Yeah, we haven't done that.
Dan the Fishman said, I was on the trip with Captain Frank, a 10-hour last week. He's a good guy. How much did you pay him to say that?
Dan.
Not much.
What else is it?
His question was, when are the Mangrove night trips, the Mangrove Snapper night trips starting back up?
You can answer that.
Yeah, our 12-hour night Mangrove Snapper trips for 2020 will start somewhere in the month of March, and they will run through somewhere in the month of October. But all our 12, 39, and 44-hour trips, all those dates and the ability to book those dates are going to start somewhere the first week of December. But I can tell you, Dan, that those 12-hour night trips run from spring through early fall. And the reason why is just those Mangrove Snapper are more plentiful, easier to catch in those warmer summertime months. When it gets cooler like this, typically the Mangrove Snapper get a little tougher. Yeah. But really, that hasn't held true the last 2 years.
No, we've been getting them, and
and this year I had a really long conversation with my dad, with Garrett, with a couple people about perhaps doing those 12-hour night trips even in the cooler months next year, like starting them sometime late January instead of waiting until March. But we eventually decided against it after much deliberation, just because I don't know. We catch them during the day in January and stuff. I don't know if we'd catch them at night. Plus, that time of year is so tough with the weather, because night fishing, you got to really have better weather. And
that's right.
It's tough. It's tough for sure. But they will start back in March. So we're looking forward to those 12-hour night trips starting back up as well. They're a lot of fun, catching a lot of those mangroves on those double snell rigs that Kylie just tied up with a little thread fin plug. That's my favorite go-to 30-40 pound test, like a 4 or 5/0 circle hook, double snelled with a little sardine plug or thread fin plug, even better. Brining the bait helps, getting that brine going, and getting that slimy, oily smell going in the water.
Maybe go over the brining.
Yeah, the brining is important. I mean, would you suggest brining on a 10-hour trip?
You know, it's what it does is it toughens up the bait.
But it needs time.
It needs time, exactly. So you could do it the night before. You brine the sardines up, head them and tail them, however you like to do it. Some people like to use them with the head on. Some people like to cut the bellies out.
Yeah.
And things like that.
For me, I'm going to cut, with our thread fins that we use, I'm going to cut the head, I'm going to cut the tail, and I'm going to trim the belly for my Mangrove Snapper bait. For grouper baits, I would leave the head on and just trim the tail.
Right.
And leave the belly alone. That's how I like doing it for my brines. But I mean, typically I only brine my baits for like 39-hour trips or 44-hour trips when you actually need it. A 10-hour trip, you don't really need to brine your bait because you're not out there for a really long time. But I know I've seen people bring coolers full of brine bait.
We absolutely have people that brine their baits.
And it works well.
Sure, yeah.
The idea is you put a very thin layer of ice. Then you pre-cut your thread fins to however you want them cut, or your sardines, or your cigar minnows, or whatever your dead bait's going to be. And you put a thin layer of bait on top of that ice, and then a very thick layer of salt. And then another thin layer of ice, another layer of bait, and then another thick layer of salt. And you just repeat that process until your cooler is full. You don't need much ice in between the fish. Or in between the bait and the salt. And then once you got it filled, a lot of times what you'll need to do is pour some salt water on top of it too, because you kind of want to get that ice melting. The trick is the ice melts and you create this soupy water mixture. So you don't want too much ice, and you don't want to leave it somewhere cool, because then the ice never melts and you don't get a brine going.
Right.
You want to get that slushiness going, and you want a lot of water in there. Because basically as that ice melts, it creates water. Then you got this water salt mixture, the bait juices, and the goal is it turns to this almost brown purplish liquid.
Yeah.
And it's real oily, and your bait gets extra rigid. So the bait's actually it's not frozen, but it almost feels frozen because it's nice and hard on the outside, and then it's super mushy and moist on the inside.
Yep.
And you drop that sucker to bottom, and as it goes to the bottom, you can actually see plumes of oil coming up to the surface.
Just natural oil, of course.
Yeah.
And some people do they'll add some oils to it too. Sometimes the Menhaden oil.
I've had people ask me about that. I got that question like a week or two ago, is would you add Menhaden oil to, I think it was on the live show someone asked, but we didn't actually see it to answer it live. Would you add Menhaden oil to your bucket of bait? And I told them, oh, heck no, because I wouldn't be wanting to grab my bait all day with that Menhaden oil in that bucket, then hooking my bait and then grabbing my rod. Because that Menhaden oil, I think, would make your reel handle or your rod handle very slippery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had a rag there and a little bucket of water, you could deal with it. But to me, I think brining the bait would be the easier option.
Or not even brining. I mean, I don't brine my baits when I'm out there, helping the guys out fishing and whatnot. It's very seldom. I just make sure I have a fresh piece of bait on it at each stop. At least, and if we're moving from one stop to the next, take that off, put a new piece of bait on there, and the squid stays on pretty well. But I've had people, I haven't caught anything all day. I'm like, well, so when was the last piece of bait you put on? They're like, well, it's the same one I've been using since we started. And I'm like, it's 3 hours later. It's like soak up. It's like take a steak. All right, you just cooked it, and you just keep soaking it in water and see how that sucker's going to taste in 3 hours of soaking in water.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any of that flavor left. They need that. So, pop a fresh bait on,
To me, I feel like sometimes when you get a little cold streak, you're not getting a bite, I will almost be guilty of reeling up too much and checking my bait and switching baits out and switching leader size and hook size until I find that bite. And then once I find that bite, I stick to what's working.
And that usually is how it goes down. That's usually
and typically
how it works.
Offshore, I mean, if you have the right tackle, you're able to feel the bite. You're holding bottom. You're presenting that bait naturally. Typically offshore at a decent spot, even on a bad day of fishing, it doesn't take more than 5-10 minutes to get a bite. Yeah. If it's taking more than 5-10 minutes to bite, it's either the captain's waiting for the hogfish to chew and we're trying to chew down the spot, or it's something else is going on. Because, I mean, typically the bites are going good. But that takes a lot of practice to get to that point where you know you're not missing a bite.
Yeah.
You know that the bite's just not happening. But
I've been known to move the boat in less than 10 minutes before, too.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten complaints about it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I got a complaint.
Some people complain about it.
I got a complaint the other day. He was like, well, the captain kept moving this boat every 10 minutes. I was like, well, that's to find you more fish.
Right. And just so it's out there, we don't move the boat if we're on a good bite. I've heard people say that, oh, they're just going to, he didn't want them to catch too many. I stay on that sucker, until they stop biting, and every time, and it hasn't hurt us in the. But if you pull up on a spot and you're sitting there for 10 minutes with 30 people on the boat and nobody is getting a bite, chances are the wind changed direction or the current changed direction, or moved a little bit, and we're off the spot, and that's why I pull up, and I don't re-anchor then on the same spot. I go something else.
Yeah.
Because there's just been too much, with a boat that size, there's too much happening above those fish. So if we swing off them, or if we, something changed, to where we're moving the boat,
I agree.
There's a reason for it,
I mean, to me, I'm a little bit of a happy medium. I think on our gradient of captains, you've got Captain Joe, Captain Garrett, Captain Brian, Captain Mark, Captain Bobby, Captain Frank, myself, and I think everybody kind of falls on that gradient. And that gradient, by that gradient, I'm talking about like the captain who will sit on a spot too long, and then the captain who will not sit on a spot at all and just move immediately. Right. And I feel like Captain Frank and Garrett kind of come more to this side where they're going to move immediately, and then Captain Brian, Captain Mark will kind of come more to this side where they're going to sit on a spot a while.
Yeah.
My dad brags about the fact that he fished a spot for 8.5 hours on a 39-hour trip. And there would be times where the fish wouldn't bite for 35, 40 minutes because those fish are doing a circle around that big old peak, but they'd come back around and you'd get an awesome bite for another hour. And then they wouldn't bite for 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes the fish just aren't ready to chew. And like, for example, certain times a year, you'll see that really good fish show on the bottom, but they're just not chewing.
That's right.
So sometimes you just got to get those baits down to the bottom, get that smell going in the water. And all of a sudden, after 10, 15 minutes of no bites, all of a sudden they turn on and you start to get them.
Yeah.
So there are situations in which it calls for sitting on and soaking the spot. There's other situations where you just want to run and gun and keep sticking and moving, and you might catch that one red grouper at this spot, and then 2 spots later you catch 1 red grouper, and then a couple spots later you catch 2 red grouper, and by the end of the day you got a nice catch.
Right.
So I mean, everybody has their own style.
Yeah,
and
that's
some people really like your style of running and gunning.
Some people hate it.
Some people hate it. Some people would rather fish with Brian, who's going to sit there and soak a spot a little longer.
Yeah.
And then you have the other captain, the other switch side of things that I find funny is like, I'll get complaints sometimes, like Garrett especially is really known for circling a spot, figure 8 in a spot.
Yeah.
My dad will do that for 45 minutes. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And just figure 8, figure 8, figure 8, figure 8, figure 8. And the idea is they're finding out where those fish are on that break and where those fish are sitting. Are they on top of the ledge? Are they on the bottom of the ledge? Which way does that ledge run? Which way does it break?
Yeah.
How deep is it on this side? How deep is it on that side? And they're building a 3D image of the ledge and the fish in their head. It's to ultimately make sure your bait's getting to the fish. But we'll have people complain about that occasionally.
Well, you know what's funny about the whole thing is we all pretty much catch about the same amount of fish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can have one end of the spectrum here, one end of the spectrum here, but at the end of a 10-hour day, it's about the same. Nobody really, gets them more than the other. I don't.
We definitely have a really good team.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody has their own way of getting there, but at the end of the day, they get there.
That's right.
It's pretty funny for sure. But all this to say that everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
If you don't like a certain captain, maybe another captain you're going to really like. And that's what I've always found funny. Another question I see here is the November 12th 39-hour trip canceled? That is the Tuesday 39-hour trip. We have 8-foot seas and 30-knot winds, and unfortunately we did have to cancel that. We called everybody, emailed everybody today. Hopefully Larry White, who asked the question, got that phone call. If you didn't, you can call us tomorrow. We'll get you all set up. Chad Simonetti asked, are there any legal gags being caught in the pass? Not that I know of. There's been some legal gags and some pretty nice sized gags caught around the Skyway fishing piers, around the docks at the Pinellas Point area. Definitely a lot around Maximo. There's some nice gags going on in Tampa Bay, Gandy, Skyway, the little rock piles and mitigation sites along the Skyway fishing channel,
There
or
hasn't
Skyway
really been
shipping channel.
I haven't really noticed of anybody actually fishing, where we're at for them. I do know that Mikey threw down his GoPro there, and there was like 6 gags in the video. They didn't look like they were,
We've
big
had a
enough
couple. There was kids fishing on the dock the other day, and they were targeting big snook, and they were catching some nice gags,
got a
but they
couple
were
gags.
16, 18 inches.
That's what I've seen too.
No legal size gags.
I pulled a 25 off there about 4 months ago, maybe, or something like that.
Is those? Because I know federal waters, they got to be 24 inches. Is it the same in state waters?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
24 inches. That's a big gag inshore.
It is.
That's a big gag. Let's see here. What other questions? Chet also asked, is the Mad Snooker still fishing? Yes, Captain Dave Palomalu, the Mad Snooker, is still around, and he is still catching a ton of big snook. Wow. You see this one? B. Braswell said she adds a lot of class to the screen. That's you.
Wow.
Bringing the class to the fishing show. We needed to class this place up a little bit.
Yeah.
I appreciate your help. Has butterfly jigging been productive at all? Yes, definitely. I mean, a lot of people catch a lot of fish on those jigs.
Yeah.
Do you like jigging? I don't think you're not known to be a jigger.
No, it's it's only because it's when you're out here every day, it's hard to work a jig every day, all day. You know what I mean?
Anthony and Rich do it.
Yeah.
They love jigging.
Yeah.
Anthony, I don't think, has used a bait in like a year.
Is that right?
Yeah, he loves jigging.
Yeah.
They have those
they're
little baby
fishing
reels.
on 160 feet of water, though. I think there's a little bit different. But we do have a few people that do those butterfly jigs, the smaller ones. You can get a bite from a fish when the fish aren't biting. They will hit those jigs.
Yeah,
it's nice to have one with you, so that if you're having a day where you know there's fish down there and they aren't biting, it's always good to try a butterfly jig.
Yeah, I mean, we have those new slow pitch Daiwa SK jigs in the shop, and they work really well. When we first got them in, Will got a couple of them, and he got some really nice mutton on them when the bite was a little slow on a 39-hour trip. And like Captain Frank says, a real good time to drop them down towards the end of a spot when the bite slows down, because sometimes that bigger aggressive fish that was being a little leader shy sees something unique and he wants to go after it.
Yeah.
Those new flutter jigs, the slow pitch jigs, they work really good. We've got a huge selection in our shop. Before your next trip, I can show you what I'm talking about. But my favorite time to use those jigs is at the very beginning of a spot, because they get down to the bottom really fast, and you can typically be that first bait to the bottom. And often the first bait to the bottom is typically very successful. And then also towards the end of a fishing spot, once the bite slows down a little bit, right before we move, slinging that thing out there and jigging it a few times is another great option, because beginning and the end of a spot, showing them something a little different, getting that bigger aggressive fish's attention will sometimes help.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do with those butterfly jigs. But it's a whole lot like work. I wouldn't fish it the whole time. Another question was fishing on the full moon. Fishing on the full moon is great, especially at night. The first day or two ahead of the full moon, and then a couple days after the full moon seems to be the best for fishing during the day. Fishing at night, pretty much the front side of that full moon and through even the middle of the moon is good, in my opinion. What do you think, Frank?
Man,
it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I've had some of my best days on a full moon.
Yeah. And
I've had some of my worst days on a full moon, and I've had mediocre day. And it's like right now, it hasn't mattered. Like the lane snapper bite it's been awesome. And lane snappers are a really good eating fish, and we can catch you can get your 10 and easily in just a stop or two.
Yeah.
We've had guys We had a guy last week that caught his 10 right on the first stop, and he was done with them, and then he focused in on something else. And the mangoes have been on each and every stop too, and I just think that the fishing all around has been good almost every day. It's been decent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The hogfish is the only thing that we had a day or two, all day here or there, that was a little lacking on those. But everything else, we caught the heck out of. You know, we got some really nice groupers. We got like a 31 or 32-inch red grouper on our last trip on, let's see, what's today? Sunday? On Thursday. On Thursday, we caught, I think, like 5 keeper red groupers on the trip, and one of them was 31 inches. So
that's a big grouper.
That was a nice red grouper.
Oh yeah, you sent me that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make it into the show.
I guess it wasn't big enough.
Lame. But yeah, definitely some nice fish have been caught on that 10-hour trip. The Sunday 10-hour trip they got in this morning, or this afternoon, they did pretty good today too. It was a little bumpy and a little slow to start, but they picked through them and they got them going. Kylie, you see that question? That one's for you, girl. What's your biggest catch? The biggest catch you've ever caught?
When you hooked me.
Probably a grouper, maybe.
A grouper? What kind of grouper?
A red one, I think.
A red grouper?
I mean, I've caught a lot of fish, so I don't know.
I've seen some big red snapper you've caught.
Yeah, the other day.
Yeah,
I actually
probably the
did
red
catch a
snappers.
big one. Yeah.
Big old red snapper?
Red snapper, red grouper.
I gotcha. So, Bill Rodriguez said, what days do the 12-hour all-day trips run? So, we did shake up our schedule. We do have 12-hour night snapper trips, and we have the 12-hour extreme trips. The 12-hour extreme trips are Wednesday and Sunday all year round. The 12-hour night mangrove snapper trips are Friday nights, depending on the moon phase, somewhere between March and October, so they're not going on right now. And then our 12-hour day trip was a special red snapper trip that only was offered on the party boat, and it was only offered during red snapper season, and it was basically like our half-day trip for red snapper. It was our shortest trip closest to shore for a shot for red snapper. And any of you guys that have watched the show through this past red snapper season, I personally talked a lot of smack about that trip and just how I didn't like it, because people would just get on there expecting 39-hour quality fish when they're essentially doing the half-day trip
we
for red
four,
snapper.
4 hours to fish, basically, is what we were getting to. And,
and nothing against the people who are running it. Nothing against. I mean, it doesn't matter who ran that trip. When you only got 4 hours of fishing time during the very middle of the day.
Yeah, and that's not if you don't get the bite in that 4 hours, it's tough. It's tough.
So, long story short, the 12-hour party boat trip is no more. Our new website should be launching any minute now. I'm waiting for it to hopefully come up here. It'll definitely be up by tomorrow. But the new website will not have that 12-hour day trip on it. So we got 12-hour extreme, 12-hour night mangrove snapper, and that is it.
I will say probably, and I discussed this a little bit with Dylan already, is when we are in the red snapper season and we're running the 10 hours, we're probably going to fish the outskirts of our 10-hour boundary area that we fish, and so that we have a shot at a few red snapper, and we may come back with 1 or 2 or 3 or something, but it's not going to be where we're coming back with the 40s and 50s of them and then throwing back 200 or 300 shorties. It's not going to be like that. So we are going to, at least that's the plan for now, is to fish the outer edge of that the 25 miles or so, and like we boated 30 of them the other day.
What?
30 of them. One stop. I don't know where this spot came from, but I wish I'd had that in my book. For when we had a couple of crappy 12-hour weather days, and I wish I would have had that spot, but I got it now, and and that's the spot I'll probably, and I will hit that next July. I won't hit it before that, just because I know they're there, and I'll put a few on the boat.
Yeah.
And we had 40 of them, but only 4 of them were keepers. The rest of them were just little shorties, but
maybe they will be by July.
Yeah.
So, had another great question. In your opinion, what is the best bait to catch grouper? I would say, in my opinion, a bonita strip would probably be one of my favorite baits, or a big old live pinfish.
Yeah. That's a funny thing that you said that about the bonita strip, because I put on a bonita belly strip
Hold on. You better hold on.
3 days ago, and I couldn't get a nibble on this thing. I
Really?
swear somebody doused it with bleach or something. Like the
Smoky guy here.
yeah, the bonita was in the box for a couple days, but I just cut the belly off it and trimmed it and made a nice, beautiful strip, threw it out there, and didn't have a thing. And I'm looking around.
Yeah,
everyone's
if it was
catching
sitting
fish.
in a box for 2 days, it got bleach on it.
It must have gotten bleach on
Yeah.
it. So bleached bonita bellies don't work. Okay.
And so about a great tip on sunscreen. If you are using the wipe-in sunscreen, you're not using the spray-on sunscreen, you should switch. The spray-on sunscreen keeps your hands clean. If you rub in sunscreen on the ride offshore and then put your hand in your bait bucket, you might as well just give up, because you're not going to catch nothing. That sunscreen, it might as well be fish repellent. So definitely be careful. If you use sunscreen on the ride out, you want to make sure you get it completely clean off your hands before you put your hand in your bait bucket. Mm-hmm. Right, Kylie?
Yep.
Is that right?
Or just don't use sunscreen.
Yeah. And then you'll look like this.
Or like this. You never know. So another question I saw was, Kylie, do you expect, or do you want to get your captain's license one day?
Yes, I do, so I can work
Oh, yeah?
at Hubbard's for
Oh,
about
heck yeah.
a bazillion years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
After a college education, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can see how my college education is being put to good use. All right, so we talked a lot about a lot of different stuff tonight. I think it's time to give away a 10-hour all-day trip here. You want to give one away, Kyle?
You know what? I see a good question on there. Scott Shepler asks, how do the captains find new spots?
It's a good question.
Okay, so
Pay attention
we
to
find
the bottom machine.
yeah, we find them every day. Every day we see new spots, and I watch my fish finder religiously on a flat, slick, calm day. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really can narrow down onto those 1 and 2 foot ledges. Because if you're in that boat and it's 1.5 foot, you're not even going to notice a 1.5 foot ledge.
Yeah.
It's got to be on those slick days. But you do find some 3 and 4. If you're circling around a spot and you hit it right, yeah, you'll see a stack of fish on a ledge. And obviously you save those numbers. But we very seldom ever on those big boats, at least for the 10 hours, fish something that's 5 or 6 feet.
Yeah.
Those big ledges, we don't ever fish those.
The big ledges, a lot of people see and a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what I always tell people, if you're new to offshore fishing, you just bought a boat for the first time, you're trying to find new spots, the best thing to do is to get one of those, like, top spots charts, or just to Google Pinellas County offshore fishing numbers. There's a ton of public numbers near shore and offshore.
That'll get you a start.
The pipeline, great place to start.
Yeah, the pipeline's a great fishing on the pipeline.
On your way out to these fishing spots, slow down 5-6 miles away and idle. Throw out a trolling line and catch some mackerel and kingfish.
Eat you a sandwich.
And watch that bottom machine.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, what drives me crazy is people are like, how do I find new spots? And on their ride out, they're going 40 mile an hour. They're going 40 mile an hour, drinking a beer, talking to their buddy. It's like, you got to slow that boat down. Yeah. And you got to pay attention to that bottom machine. That's how you find new numbers.
Yeah, spend a little extra time if you got your own personal boat. Spend a little extra time at your spot and go a mile one way, go a mile the other way. Mm-hmm. And each time, and you're gonna find them. You're gonna find some new spots.
Yeah, so definitely. And what I always do is, like, say I'm going to X number. I will take my whatever the GPS says. Let's say 270. So I ride out on that heading. And then when I come home, I might go 10 10, 15 degrees off course on purpose because I'm going to take a little roundabout way home because I want to see a little bit different area than what I saw on the way there.
That's a good point. I've done that too. I've pulled up anchor, shot a mile to the north, and then head in.
Yep.
Like, it just so I have a different break, and that's how you do it. I mean,
the one of the best ways, the best time that I ever had getting new numbers is I was second captain on a 44-hour trip, so I had a 10-hour ride in.
Nice.
And it was gorgeous out. It was flat calm. So everybody was asleep, lights were off, and I was just zigzagging.
There it is.
I was like, oh, there's a nice piece of bottom.
Yeah, that's why he was zigzagging.
Yeah, I had that bathymetric chart, so I was looking at different pieces of bottom that looked interesting, and I was just zigzagging between them, marking numbers. So that was really cool, and that paid off in a big way. So definitely a lot of good questions here, guys, and we got
to wrap it up.
We got to wrap it up.
Got a little one here.
Yeah, Kylie, you got school tomorrow, girl,
and basketball practice.
Oh man,
Woo.
You got to go school some kids on basketball. But speaking of finding new fishing spots and just more information, if you enjoy our videos and you want to see some interesting twists on these videos, we do have that Salt Strong deal running still from from Joe Simons being on the show. If you go to saltstrong.com/Hubbard, so just saltstrong.com and then /Hubbard, that will bring you to the secret Captain Dylan Hubbard Salt Strong page, and you get 3 courses for the price of 1. So you get all 3 courses: the Grouper Mastery, the Red Snapper Mastery, and the Mangrove Snapper Mastery, including how to position your boat, how to find new spots, how to do all these rigs, and it's actually on the boat information. So we're actually out there on the water catching fish. It's a really cool little program Salt Strong put together, and that's the people who put it together, and that's the people who are selling it. But it is buy 1 get 2 free, plus you get a year-long membership free as well. So highly recommend you check out that Salt Strong course if you have it. We'll see you November 16th at 2 p.m. for our Bass Pro Shops seminar at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops. And don't forget, tomorrow, check out that new website. Tell me how we did. You can also go to our website now. On our website, right in the bottom, you can't see it because my video's there. Right in the bottom right-hand corner, now we have the text option, so you can text us from our website, or you can text us from our phone number. So our main office number, 727-393-1947. You can call us, or you can now text us. So it's a great way for you to stay in touch with us a little better, and hopefully make it easier for you to go fishing.
Yeah.
But let's give away a 39-hour trip and get you to bed, Kylie.
And the 10-hour.
We already gave away the 10-hour.
No, we only did a half day.
Oh, did we get distracted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started talking.
We got way off course.
Yeah, so we got to do a 10-hour and a 10-hour trip for 2, and a 39 for  2. So let's get her done.
No. 10-hour trip for 2, 39-hour for 1.
39.
I like how you slid that in there. He tried. I am gonna do a special 39-hour trip giveaway tomorrow though for Veterans Day. Thought about that today. I think we should give away a 39-hour trip tomorrow for the veterans.
For sure.
So stay tuned to our Facebook page tomorrow. We're gonna have more details coming on that. Happy Veterans Day to those veterans out there. But let's give away a 10-hour all-day trip for 2. If your name is chosen, text us at 727-393-1947. Text us your name, your home address, and we'll get this gift certificate out for you. You do have to text us pretty quickly. That way it proves you are watching live. Stephen Belovich. Is that what that says?
Yep.
Hey, Captain Dylan, tuning in from the Keys. Love this show.
Oh, tuning in from the Keys.
Yeah, cool.
That's pretty cool. If I was in the Keys, I would not be watching my show.
No.
I
They're
appreciate
here
it,
for
Steven.
you.
Yeah, you're classing this
All right.
place up.
It's
Classic.
not true.
All right, so again, November 16th, Bass Pro Shops. We'll see you there. Oh, this Friday, I did a cooking show, believe it or not, on Fox 13. So this Friday, 8:15 a.m., we're going to have our normal fishing report. But then around 9:15, somewhere in that 9 o'clock hour this Friday, is the cooking show. We're going to give away the Hubbard family secret recipe for grilling fish. So that's pretty cool. Tune in for that. And who won a 39-hour trip? Let's find out.
Let's see it.
Let's see who won, Kylie. Let's see who won. Let's see who won. Amy Bartoloni.
Hello from Hernando Beach. My boyfriend,
Oh, they watch every Sunday night. We would love to go out on one of your trips.
Well, there it
Look
is.
at that. Amy and her boyfriend, Bo, you got some good fishing options for yourselves, guys. So congratulations winning. For those of you who did not win, hopefully we'll see you next week. We're going to have, I think, Will McClure, our first mate from our long-range trips, in studio next week. Don't forget about November 16th, 2 p.m. Bass Pro Shops every Friday morning, 8:15 a.m. on Fox 13 News. And then every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. here for our live stream show. If I did not answer your question, I'm going to go back through the comments and make sure I answer them all. So stay tuned for those messages coming through on the type. You can always text us at 727-393-1947. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing,
you're just too busy.
Yeah.
nailed it. Nailed it. I didn't
was-
even prep you.
I almost was going to whisper it in her ear in case you asked her.
She
but
didn't
that's
even
awesome.
hesitate.
Cool.
That was
Because I
bad.
watch
Bobo.
every Sunday too.
Oh,
That's right. That's
found
right.
it.
I forgot. Yeah, that
We've been high-fiving
yeah.
and pounding a lot, but I'm just so proud right now.
Oh my god.
Thanks for watching,
All right.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.